There's a moment that doesn't look dramatic, but it changes everything. It usually happens at night. You're lying in bed, scrolling your phone, half distracted, and then you open your banking app. For a second, everything feels fine. $3,482. You just got paid. You relax a little, maybe even think, okay, this month I'll finally get ahead. Then fast forward. Same person, same life. It's the 21st of the month. You check again. $217. And suddenly you're doing math in your head. Rent already paid, bills covered, groceries, kind of, but there's still 9, maybe 10 days left. No crazy spending, no luxury shopping, no wild decisions, just life. And yet somehow, your money disappears faster than you earn it. Now here's where it gets interesting. Let me introduce you to two people, Daniel and Sidra. They grew up in the same city, same public school system, graduated the same year. Both landed jobs in their mid-20s, earning about $60,000 a year. After taxes, they each take home around $3,500 a month. Same salary, same city, same cost of living. Daniel lives exactly how you'd expect. Pays rent, has a car payment, subscriptions, groceries, occasional nights out. Nothing extreme, nothing irresponsible, but every month follows the same pattern. By the third week, he's low on money. By the last week, he's stressed. Now Sidra, same job, same paycheck, same life on paper. But when she opens her banking app, there's something different. She still has her $3,500 salary, but sitting quietly in a separate account, an extra $1,120 this month. Not from overtime, not from a promotion, not from a second job, from things she set up months ago and barely thinks about now. A parking space, a small digital product, a dividend payout, a couple of other systems that run in the background, whether she's working or not. Same income, same effort, completely different outcome. And if you're wondering, no, she's not smarter than Daniel. She didn't start with more money. She didn't have special connections. She just made one decision earlier than he did. She stopped relying on one income stream, because here's the uncomfortable truth. Your paycheck is the most expensive way to earn money. Think about it. Every dollar you earn from your job gets hit with income tax, payroll tax, sometimes state tax. By the time it reaches you, a huge percentage is already gone. And it gets worse. That income stops the moment you stop working, has a ceiling, depends entirely on your time. You are literally trading hours of your life for money that disappears in weeks. Now compare that to how wealth actually builds. Not through one income stream, but through multiple. In fact, studies on high-income individuals consistently show the average millionaire doesn't rely on one income stream. They have multiple, often 5 to 7 different sources. Not because they're geniuses, not because they're working 100 hours a week, but because they understand something simple. One income keeps you alive. Multiple incomes change your life. And here's where most people get it wrong. They think building extra income means starting a business, becoming an influencer, trading crypto, doing something flashy, but the truth? The most reliable income streams are the most boring ones, the ones nobody brags about, the ones nobody posts about, the ones that don't look exciting, but quietly make money every single month. Sidra didn't wake up one day with $1,120 in extra income. She built it slowly. First, one small system, then another, then another. Nothing impressive on its own. But together, they changed everything. 18 months later, she didn't just have a job anymore. She had income that didn't depend on her showing up. And that's the shift. That's the moment everything changes. Because once your income is no longer tied only to your time, you stop playing defense with money. You stop thinking, can I afford this? And start thinking, how do I build more of this? So in this video, we're not talking about motivation. We're not talking about working harder. We're breaking down 15 boring income systems that, actually work, require low effort, and can realistically grow into something bigger than your job. Some will make you a few hundred a month. Some can scale into thousands, but more importantly, every single one of them moves you away from the trap Daniel is stuck in and closer to the system Sidra built. And by the end of this, you won't just understand them, you'll know exactly which one you can start. Let's begin with the simplest category, the stuff most people overlook, even though it's sitting right in front of them, not because it's complicated, but because it's too simple. These are the income streams hiding in your everyday life, the ones you walk past, use, or own, without ever thinking of them as money. Sidra didn't start with investing. She didn't start with business. She started with something almost embarrassingly basic. 1. Renting out a parking space. It took her 12 minutes. That's it. She lived about 8 minutes away from a hospital. Didn't think much of it. Until one day, she noticed something. The hospital parking garage, $18 a day. Do the math. That's over $350 a month just to park. So she listed her extra parking space online. Within 48 hours, a nurse messaged her, $180 per month, auto-paid, no negotiation, no hassle. And here's the part most people miss. That nurse stayed for 11 months. Sidra didn't hustle for that money. She didn't trade time. She didn't learn a skill. She just stopped giving away an asset for free. Now think about your own situation. Do you have an unused driveway, a second parking spot, even a space you don't use during the day? Because if it's near offices, schools, markets, train stations, you're potentially sitting on $100 to $300 per month, doing absolutely nothing. And once it's rented, it becomes invisible income. You forget about it, but it doesn't forget to pay you. 2. Renting out storage space. This one scales even better because here's a fact that sounds ridiculous, but isn't. The average person owns more stuff than they have space for. That's why the self-storage industry generates over $40 billion every year. People are literally paying to store things they don't use. And instead of building new storage units, platforms now connect those people to people like you. Sidra looked at her garage, half empty, just boxes and random things. She cleared out a section, took a few photos, listed it. Within a week, $160 per month. That renter stayed for over a year. Let's break that down. Time spent setting it up, maybe 20 minutes. Total earned over a year, nearly $2,000. And her actual monthly effort, close to zero. That's not a side hustle, that's a system. And if you have a garage, an attic, a spare room, even a storage corner, you're sitting on unused income, not potential income, actual income. 3. Vending machines, the quietest business nobody talks about now. Let's move into something slightly more active, but still incredibly simple. Vending machines. And before you dismiss this, understand something important. This industry is boring on the surface, but extremely profitable underneath. A single well-placed machine can generate $400 to $800 in revenue, $300 to $600 in profit every month. And what determines success? Not your skills, not your intelligence, just one thing: location. A vending machine in a quiet office, dead. A vending machine in a factory, a gym, a college building. That's where the money is. Sidra didn't start here, but one of her friends did. His name was Marcus. Marcus placed his first machine in a small auto repair shop. Startup cost? $2,800. First month? $220 profit. Not impressive, but he didn't quit. He moved the machine. New location, a busy warehouse with 70 employees. Next month, $540 profit. Same machine, same effort, different location. That's when it clicked. Within a year, he had 6 machines. Total monthly income, just over $2,700. Time spent per week, about 6 to 8 hours. That's less time than most people spend scrolling their phone. 4. ATM machines. You become the bank. Now, this one feels strange at first, but once you understand it, it makes perfect sense. Every time someone withdraws money from an ATM, they pay a fee, usually $2 to $4. Most people hate that fee, but someone is collecting it. That someone can be you. You buy an ATM, place it in a high-traffic location, and collect the fee from every transaction. Let's say 10 withdrawals per day, $3 fee. That's $30 a day, $900 a month. Even after expenses, you're still making $300 to $700 per month per machine. And the crazy part? You don't need dozens, just 3 solid locations. And you've built a $1,000 to $2,000 per month system. But there's a catch, and this is important. Your success depends heavily on the location, the business owner, foot traffic. This isn't guesswork. It's placement strategy. But once it's right, it runs. 5. Pressure, washing the fastest cash on this list. Now, let's switch gears, because not everything needs to be passive. Some things are powerful because they're simple and pay immediately. Pressure washing is one of them. A guy named Chris discovered this by accident. His landlord hired someone to clean the driveway, took 2 hours, charged $350. Chris watched the whole thing and thought, that's it? That weekend, he rented a pressure washer for $80, knocked on a few doors. 2 people said yes. He made $220 in one afternoon. That was the moment everything changed. Within a month, bought his own equipment, started getting referrals. 3 months later, he was making $2,000 to $3,000 per month, just working weekends. And here's the part most people underestimate. This isn't about skill. It's about showing up, being consistent, doing something others don't feel like doing. That's the pattern you're starting to see. None of these are exciting. None of these are glamorous. But they all have something in common. They solve simple problems that people are willing to pay for. And that's where real money hides. Not in complicated ideas, but in obvious ones that most people ignore. And we're just getting started, because in the next part, we shift from effort-based income to something much more powerful, money. That works for you. Up to this point, everything we've talked about still involves some level of effort. Not a lot, but still something. Now we shift into a different category. This is where things start to feel unfair, because this is where money starts working harder than you. 6. High-yield savings, the easiest upgrade. Most people ignore. Let's start with the simplest one. No skill, no risk, no learning curve, just awareness. Most people keep their savings in traditional bank accounts, earning around 0.3% to 0.5% annually. That means $10,000 earns you maybe $30 a year. That's not income, that's decoration. Now compare that to a high-yield savings account. Same money, same bank system, same effort, but now you're earning 4% to 5% annually. That same $10,000 now earning $400 to $500 a year. No extra work, no extra risk, just a different place to store your money. Cedra moved $20,000 into one of these accounts, and suddenly she was earning over $80 per month. Not life-changing. But here's what matters. It was automatic. She didn't think about it, didn't manage it, didn't work for it, and that's the foundation of passive income. Not huge money, but consistent money. 7. Government bonds. Boring, stable, reliable. Now let's take one step further. Government bonds are about as boring as it gets. You're essentially lending money to the government, and they pay you interest. Returns usually sit around 3.5% to 4.5% annually. But here's the part most people don't realize. In many cases, that interest is tax-advantaged, which means your real return is actually higher than it looks. Cedra added bonds not for excitement, but for stability, because once you start building multiple income streams, you don't just want growth, you want predictability, and that's what bonds provide. 8. Dividend investing, the compounding machine. Now we move into something more powerful. This is where income starts growing without you adding more effort. Dividend investing. Here's how it works. You buy shares in companies. Those companies pay you a portion of their profits every quarter, every year. And if you reinvest those payments, your income grows automatically. Let's break it down. You invest $10,000. You earn 3.5% in dividends. That's $350 per year. Next year, it might be $380, then $420, then $500. Not because you worked more, but because the system is compounding. Cedra started small, $200 a month, nothing crazy. But over time, her dividend income started to feel real, not just numbers on a screen, but actual money showing up regularly. And that's when it clicks. You're no longer just saving money, you're building an income engine. 9. REITs, real estate without the headaches. Now imagine owning real estate without dealing with tenants, repairs, late payments, property management. That's exactly what REITs are. Real estate investment trusts. They own income-generating properties, offices, apartments, shopping centers, and by law, they must distribute 90% of their profits to investors. That means you earn consistent income without ever touching property. Average returns? Around 3% to 6% annually. Cedra added REITs to her portfolio because she wanted exposure to real estate without the stress. And that's the key idea here. You're not chasing one perfect income stream. You're stacking multiple ones, each doing a different job. 10. Peer-to-peer lending. Higher risk, higher return. Now, this one is different because it introduces something important: risk. With peer-to-peer lending, you're lending money to individuals or businesses. In return, you earn interest, typically around 8% to 12% annually, which is significantly higher than savings or bonds. But there's a reason for that. Not every borrower pays back on time. Some default. So the strategy isn't to go all in, it's to diversify. Instead of lending $1,000 to one person, you spread it across 20 or 30 smaller loans. That way, one default doesn't destroy your returns. Cedra approached this carefully. She didn't treat it like gambling, she treated it like a system. Small amounts, spread out, consistent. And over time, it became one more income stream, working quietly in the background. The shift. Most people never make now. Step back for a second. Look at what's happening here. At the beginning, income required effort. Time is equal to money. But now, money is equal to more money. That's the shift most people never make, because they're stuck trying to earn more, work more, save more, instead of building systems that multiply what they already have. And this is exactly where the gap widens, because once your money starts producing income, you're no longer playing the same game. You're not just earning, you're building. 11. Digital products. Create once, sell forever. This is one of the most misunderstood income streams, because people hear digital product and think courses, huge audiences, complicated systems. But that's not where most people start. They start simple: a spreadsheet, a planner, a template, something that solves a small, specific problem. Cedra's first digital product? A basic monthly budget template. Nothing fancy, no branding, no audience. She uploaded it online. First month, $37. Most people would stop there. She didn't. She improved it, added features, made it more useful. 3 months later, $280 per month. A year later, over $1,200 per month from something she built once and improved a few times. And here's the real insight. The internet doesn't reward perfection. It rewards usefulness. If your product helps someone save time, save money, or solve a problem, it can sell, and every sale after the first one costs you nothing. 12. Print on demand, the long game nobody sees coming. Now let's talk about something even simpler. You create designs, upload them, and when someone orders, a platform handles printing, shipping, customer service. You just collect a royalty. Sounds easy, because it is. But here's the part most people misunderstand. This is not a quick win. It's a volume game. Most designs don't sell, but the ones that do keep selling. Think of it like this. 100 designs might make you $200 to $300 per month, but 500 designs. Now you're looking at $2,000 to $4,000 per month, not because each one is amazing, but because you built a system, and systems scale. 13. Stock content. Turn moments into income. Now imagine this. You take a photo or shoot a short video, upload it once, and every time someone uses it, you get paid. That's stock content. And while generic content is saturated, something very specific still works extremely well. Real places, real people, authentic moments, because those can't be easily replicated. A simple example, a 10-second video clip of a busy street, a local market, a real environment. That clip could sell again and again and again. Some creators build libraries of hundreds of clips and earn $500 to $1,000 per month passively. Not viral, not flashy, just consistent. 14. User testing and focus groups, the easiest entry point. Now let's make this even simpler. No setup, no investment, no skills required. Companies need feedback. They need real people to test apps, websites, and ideas, and they pay for it. Typical sessions, 20 minutes, $10, 60 minutes, $50 to $150. Do a few per week? That's an extra $200 to $800 per month. No long-term system, no scaling, but it's one of the fastest ways to start generating extra income immediately. 15. Notary signing. High pay for simple work. Now this one might be the most underrated of all. If you've ever bought a house, you've seen this person. Someone shows up with documents and watches you sign everything. That person gets paid $75 to $200 per appointment. Time required? About an hour. No degree, no complex skills, just certification and consistency. Do 15 signings per month? You're looking at $2,000+. And here's why it works. Because it's boring. No one grows up dreaming of being a notary, which means less competition and more opportunity. Now step back and look at everything you've seen. None of this is exciting. There's no viral moment, no overnight success, no get-rich-quick story, just systems. Small ones, simple ones. But when you stack them together, they change everything. Because this was never about making one big move. It's about making a few small ones that keep paying you over time. Daniel is still living paycheck to paycheck, not because he's lazy, not because he's bad with money, but because he never built anything outside his job. Cedra? She didn't work harder, she didn't get lucky, she just built systems. Now her income looks different. $180 from a parking space, $160 from storage, $90 from savings interest, $300+ from dividends, $200 from digital products individually. Nothing crazy. Together, over $1,000 per month. And growing. That's the difference. Because once you stop relying on one income stream, you stop living month to month. You start building momentum, and eventually, you reach a point where your income is no longer tied to your time. That's when things change. So here's what you do next. Not all 15, not even 5, just one. Pick one system from this list. Something simple, something realistic, and set it up this week. Because the truth is, the people who win financially aren't doing extraordinary things. They're doing ordinary things, consistently, and letting time do the heavy lifting. The boring path? It's not popular, but it works. And if you build it right, it doesn't just make you money, it buys you freedom. See you in the next video.